They're watching you, not by accident, not out of boredom, but because something about you pulls their attention. Even if they never admit it, they see the way you carry yourself, the way you rise after being knocked down, the way you keep going. Even when life tried to silence you, there's a quiet power in you that's impossible to ignore, but they don't say a word. No compliments, no questions, just silence. Don't mistake their silence for indifference. Don't confuse their quietness with blindness. They see you clearly, but they're watching from the shadows because they don't know what to do with what they see. You've become a mirror to their own fears, their own doubts, their own dreams that they buried. Your light reminds them of everything they dimmed in themselves. And so, instead of clapping, they monitor. Instead of supporting, they study. Instead of celebrating, they silently compete. But you weren't sent to entertain them. You weren't chosen to gain their approval. You were called to be a sign. Your life is a message. Your survival is a testimony. Your glow is not about attention, it's about alignment. Heaven has placed a weight on your walk, not to crush you, but to signal others that purpose still exists in a distracted world. And that's why they're watching. They can't look away because something in their spirit is being stirred. Even if their mouth stays shut, even if they never double tap or comment, you've entered their awareness. And God made sure of it. You see, when you're chosen, you don't need to promote yourself. Your obedience becomes the announcement. Your consistency becomes the broadcast. Your resilience becomes the sermon. They're seeing you navigate storms with grace. They're witnessing your peace in chaos. They're feeling something shift every time you speak, or even when you say nothing at all. But here's the catch. They won't always cheer for you. They won't always affirm you, because that would require admitting you've tapped into something beyond the natural, and they're still stuck trying to figure it out. How is it that you walk into a room and the energy changes? How is it that doors keep opening even when others tried to close them? How is it that you carry so much authority without ever raising your voice? The answer is simple. You carry God's presence, and it's not something that can be mimicked. It's not something that can be copied. It's authentic, it's divine, and it's undeniable. That's why, even in their silence, they're still watching, and some are watching because they've never seen anything like it. Some are watching because they wish they had your courage, and a few are watching because they're assigned to learn from you, even if their ego won't let them admit it. You're not being watched for entertainment. You're being watched for revelation. God is using your life as a blueprint, the way you handle your calling, the way you move without validation, the way you stay rooted when others shift with trends. It's all being documented spiritually, but stay focused. Don't get distracted by the silence. Don't let their quiet discourage you. The same ones watching you now in silence will one day testify how your walk gave them strength. Some will approach you when you're further along and say, "I've been following your journey for years. I just never reached out." Because some people can't honor you until the crowd does. But that doesn't mean your impact wasn't felt. You've been shaking atmospheres. You've been shifting mindsets. You've been setting off spiritual alarms. And most don't even understand why their eyes keep returning to you. It's because your movement is spirit-led. And that type of direction can't be explained in words, only in discernment. So they say nothing, but make no mistake. Heaven sees it all. God hears the conversations you're not invited to. God watches how they study you in silence, and He's keeping record. your obedience in this quiet season, your integrity when no one seemed to acknowledge you, your faithfulness, even when the stage was empty. All of it is preparing a public table, and those same silent watchers, they'll be invited to watch again. Only this time, it won't be from a place of curiosity. It will be from a place of conviction, because the fruit will speak, the results will speak, the favor on your life will speak, and there will be no room for denial. You were sent not to impress them, but to remind them that destiny still has a schedule, that God still raises up the least likely, that favor doesn't need permission, so let them watch. Let them remain silent. You weren't called for noise, you were called for impact. And right now, in this very moment, you're making more impact than you realize. The silence is loud, the attention is real, and your assignment is right. On track they are quiet, because they're confused. They can't explain what they're sensing, but it feels bigger than you, as if something invisible is going on behind your presence. You don't deliver messages. You move atmospheres. You're not just walking in faith, you're walking in purpose. And people feel the weight of that. Some watch to learn, others watch to defend. Some watch because your light interrupts their comfort zone, and a few watch, quietly afraid. Your breakthrough will expose their own stagnation, but none of this pauses your path. People may remain silent, but heaven isn't watching quietly anymore. He's orchestrating alignment behind the scenes. Doors are opening you. Didn't knock on prayers you whispered alone, are being answered. Favor is following what they can't yet measure in you. Their silence won't delay your destiny, it will simply force your destiny forward in better ways, because heaven doesn't work off popularity, he works off prophetic posture. You didn't become this for them to celebrate. You became this to shatter ceilings for those who follow next. Some will approach you only when you arrive. They'll say, I saw your name back then, but I never reached out. Let them. You didn't move this far by leaning on people. You moved by leaning on God. You didn't build this platform by pushing for visibility. You built it by staying faithful in the unseen. And now, what heaven formed in the dark is being manifested in the light. The watchers who stayed silent before will be drawn back, but not to distract you, to show you your impact. Your story becomes a gateway. Your breakthrough becomes a blueprint. Your platform becomes a pulpit for someone else's purpose. The ones studying your moves without speaking will one day stand in lines you open. For now, let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them think you're still in a box. Because when they finally see you walk in that house God built for you, they'll realize you were never boxed. You were being built. No applause yet. Your season isn't over. Keep moving, keep growing, keep staying silent when silence costs you nothing but reveals everything, because heaven is louder than their words. When your destiny comes into focus, you won't have to explain the process. Your presence will be the testimony. When everyone who watched from the bench sees you play, you won't need to recount your journey. They'll feel it in your authority. Don't let the quiet make you second-guess the purpose. Let it remind you, what's next is so sacred you'll need a higher preparation. Keep walking carefully. Keep staying committed. Keep building quietly. You aren't just being watched, you're being handled by heaven. Their silence is not an absence of support. It's simply evidence that what you carry is too heavy for shallow spaces, and God has bigger rooms ahead. What they're not saying is louder than anything they could say. You've become the silent sermon they didn't expect to be convicted by. Your walk speaks louder than their questions. Your peace threatens their chaos, and still they stay silent. Not because they don't notice you, but because they don't know how to respond to what they're seeing unfold in your life. It's not that they haven't talked about you, they have, but never in your presence, because your presence carries something that their opinions can't. Compete with truth. You don't even have to say much. The spirit in you unmasks spirits in them, and that kind of exposure makes the room feel too honest for comfort. So instead, they smile, they watch, they scroll, they lurk, they take notes, but in secret, you became a divine mystery they couldn't figure out. So they watched from the shadows, hoping to catch a glimpse of your formula. But there is no formula. It's favor, it's fire, it's foundation built in private. And that's why God kept it this way. Because had they celebrated you too early, you may have shared prematurely what was still sacred. So He let their silence protect you. He let their distance develop. He used their passivity to push you deeper into prayer. He let you wonder why no one clapped. So you'd stop living for the applause and start living for the assignment. And now the shift is happening. That watching is turning into witnessing. They're no longer just seeing progress, they're seeing prophecy unfold. You were hidden, in plain sight, marked for more, unbothered by validation because you were anointed by revelation. What's about to happen next will make sense of every quiet season, every ignored message, every overlooked moment, every door that never opened. Because when God elevates you, He makes it undeniable. You don't rise through status, you rise through spirit-led momentum, and you, chosen one, are in motion. Don't expect them to admit they were watching. That's not your focus. Your focus is staying aligned, staying anchored, staying anointed in the face of assumptions. Because now, heaven is not just watching, it's responding. The people who watched you in confusion are about to watch you in awe, but not because you did it alone, but because they'll finally see what happens when God backs someone who didn't back down. You're stepping into visibility that doesn't need introduction. Your fruit will speak. Your favor will finish the conversations. They didn't have the courage to start. Your walk will quiet every whisper. You were the topic behind the scenes, but now you're the testimony on center stage. Not for ego, not for status, but for purpose. So, the next one, who's silently watching you, they'll have permission to believe it's possible for them to dot. God is using you as a walking blueprint, not perfect, not polished, but positioned. That's why you couldn't blend in, why every room shifted when you entered, why some friends faded, and some enemies grew quiet, because what's inside of you speaks without sound. You carry legacy, you carry healing, you carry shift, and whether they applaud or not, you're still moving forward with power, peace, and prophetic alignment. The people watching you in silence know will hear about you in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your name is being spoken by angels. Your gifts are being highlighted in heaven, and your destiny is unfolding in real time. Let them remain silent. Let them stay hidden. You're not here for recognition. You're here to be a revelation. The way you love, the way you rise, the way you endure storms without quitting. It's all part of the message God is writing through you. You are not just a person being watched. You are a movement being released. Your life is proof that silent seasons don't mean forgotten ones. It means you were being prepared in secret to be released in power. And now, the release has begun. You've walked silently through fire. You've held your tongue while misunderstood. You've kept your hands clean when lied on, and heaven saw it all, which is why now every silent watcher is about to see God move on your behalf. No arguments needed, no announcements required. Your elevation will be the only explanation. Let them watch, let them stay quiet, because when God finishes what He started in you, the silence will turn to shock, the watchers will turn to witnesses, and your name will become a prophecy fulfilled.